Welcome back to the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network. We're at the break between Allegheny and Waynesburg, and we're now joined by current Allegheny men's basketball senior forward, Caden Hinckley. Caden, thanks so much for joining us today. First off, just want to hear how this year has been for you and the Gators, and especially with it being your first year in the PAC.
Yeah, it's been really good. We've been improving in practice every day. We started off the year kind of slow, but then we were able to find our groove, and we've been able to string together some wins, and it's been a really good year for us.
Well, that's great. And I know that, like I mentioned, you guys were coming from the NCAC prior. So this is your first year being in the PAC. We've talked a lot with some of the other players on Allegheny, and we've heard that, mostly it's been a really welcome sign with the traveling and the less traveling. But what are some other things and just other nice welcomed adjustments that you guys have liked about being in the PAC this year?
Just that we fit our competition better. Like, we are one of the bigger teams, so we're able to use our size as an advantage and try and throw the ball inside mostly, and then try and kick it out to our shooters. We've just been able to focus on what we need to do to improve and play against the PAC, and it's been working out so far.
Well, I think that's great. You guys, again, have been able to make that nice, smooth transition over to the PAC. But, Caden, I want to get into your career, and we'll start just with, you originally being from Boise, Idaho, but then you moved to Pennsylvania, graduating from Mount Lebanon High School in Pittsburgh. Talk a little bit about just your journey to Pennsylvania. When did you move here? And then also just what was that like going from one state to the next?
Yeah, I've moved around a lot as a kid, so I've never stayed in one place too long. So I've gotten a little used to moving and being in different areas. But when I moved to Pittsburgh, I went all 4 years at Mount Lebanon. And then that's when I found out about Allegheny, because a lot of Mount Lebanon alum went to Allegheny and talked about how it was such a good school. So when they were interested in me, that was made me very happy, because I knew I was going to be close to home, at least for the first year before we moved back out to Boise. But it was a really good situation at the first year. It was not too far from home. I was able to come home, see my family, and it wasn't too much of a culture shock. So that was good.
Yeah, well, I think that's great. And especially, like you said, kind of, eventually finding a home after moving around for a little bit, and you found it here at Allegheny. And clearly you have had a tremendous career, and it's culminated in you scoring 1,000 points recently, just really a few weeks ago. What did that mean to you in that moment overall as a player? And also, what did that mean to just the entire program at Allegheny?
Yeah, I didn't realize I was as close as I was until my coaches started telling me about it. But it just shows that throughout my career here, we've had a lot of great players, and we're all unselfish. So we pass the ball, and we just find out whoever's open, and we shoot the ball in. So I just have to thank my teammates for passing me the ball when I'm open and I'm able to score.
Well, I know that you've been known to not only be a great scorer, but also a great rebounder. You're currently sitting tied for fourth in all of Division III in double doubles. You've had 16 in 24 games this year. So just about on a nightly basis, how do you keep such a high intensity motor and keep that level of play throughout an entire 40-minute game, on basically a nightly basis? I mean, that's got to be hard, right?
Yeah, but the way we practice, the games are a lot easier. We try and make practice harder than the games. And in practice, I got a lot of competition in the posts, so I'm constantly battling in practice. So that makes battling in the games a little easier. And it's also more fun when you're doing it against someone else besides your teammates.
Who in particular in practice have you been going up against all throughout, not only this year, but just in the previous seasons that you feel have helped you out in the games?
Well, my first 2 years, I was going up against Jordan Rawls, one of the Allegheny's all-time leading scorer. So that really helped me figure out how to play some defense and how to make sure he doesn't get extra second chance points in practice. And then this year, I've been going up against Holden Phillips, who's very big and a really good post. So that makes me have to box out and get used to that repetition that is needed in the games in order to get the rebounds.
Again, we really appreciate you joining us today on the halftime show. And Caden, before we let you go, I just want to hear, especially with it being your all's first year in the PAC, what do you think is going to be key and important going into the playoffs and really making a push towards the PAC title?
Just staying together. Like we don't want to get too high when things are going well, and also we can't get too low when things are against us. Like if we stay together, composed, I think we will have a great chance at winning the PAC title.
Well, Caden, again, really appreciate your time today. Good luck the rest of the season, and thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
That's Allegheny's Caden Hinckley. Folks, don't go anywhere, as we will have more of the second half of today's matchup coming up right here and only on the PAC Sports Network.